Hey everybody, John Van Dyke here for New Jersey Exposed. Today is Memorial Day, May 25th, 2020. Time is 1:26 p.m. New Jersey time. I'm going to get right to the story. So Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office posted a story on their Facebook page today, and I happened to read it, and it pertains to Memorial Day. Here it is right there. Take a good look at it. Let's read what it has to say. On Memorial Day, we thank and honor all of those men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our freedom. May you never be forgotten for your heroic deeds. Well, that ticked me off because they're saying one thing, but they do something else, as all typical government authorities. So I responded, what do you care about freedom? You have a governor that has trampled all over the First Amendment, and you stand idly by and watch police enforce these civil rights violations. For example, Rumson Police Department. Most shameful post, McPoe, you have ever posted. And that's my post right there. So I got a response as expected. And this one says from Steve Cav, but that's not his full name. We'll get to that in a minute. He says, I'm curious, what have you ever done to preserve the freedoms we are afforded today? Yeah, I didn't think so. So I responded, Steve Cav, yeah, okay, order follower. Well, Steve, I like to know what you've done to preserve freedom. See, you work for the government, and I'm going to expose that in a second here. Let me bring up his Facebook page. There it is. Take a good look. His real name is Steve Cavendish. And let's see what it says. Oh, he works for he's a detective at Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Former detective, second grade at NYPD. He lives in Lincroft, New Jersey. He's got a little money. And he's from Brooklyn, New York, and that's pretty much all he's got on there. Well, let me explain to you who Steve Cavendish is. He's retired from the NYPD. He's got an impressive resume, I'll give him that. But he's retired, so he's collecting a pension. He got himself another government job with the county, and he's probably making six figures. So, Steve, my question to you, what have you done to preserve freedom? Because based on what you do for a living, your job is to enforce government orders, government laws, and to take orders. You're an order follower and you enforce government laws. So how are you preserving freedom? Because usually the government laws and orders intrude on our freedoms. And speaking of freedoms, you took an oath, didn't you, Steve, to uphold and defend the Constitution? And I think the prosecutor's office, everybody out there, did the same thing also. So my question to you, Steve, and the prosecutor's office, where were you when the governor put out that order that basically just stripped us of our Bill of Rights, particularly the First Amendment? Where were you, Steve? I didn't see any postings on your Facebook page about it. I didn't see the prosecutor's office put anything on there about that. You know, maybe the prosecutor put on there and say, look, we don't agree with this, but we work for the government and we have to follow that order. Nope, mum's the word. And then you have Rumson Police, who went over to that man's house that was playing guitar, him and his friend, putting on a little live show on his Facebook page, which attracted the attention of some neighbors who stopped by and were standing there watching. And the police came along there and issued summonses and told everybody they couldn't stand there, they had to leave. Now, last I checked, that is a blatant violation of the First Amendment. So, Steve, prosecutor's office, where were you? Why didn't you sound out about that? Why didn't you pick the phone up and tell Rumson Police, look, you can't do that? Where were you? You took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. There are no disclaimers in that oath or the Constitution that says when the governor puts out an unlawful order, you must follow it. Your oath was to the Constitution. But I checked your Facebook pages. You said nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'd like to know what your idea of preserving freedom is. Because I know what my idea of preserving freedom is. I got 600 and some videos about it. I have some legal action that demonstrates it. I can't get into it. So, yeah, you want to know what I've done, Steve? Ask around the office. They all know me out there. As far as the prosecutor's office, you're not doing anything to preserve freedom. All you're doing is prosecuting people. And when I ask a question like, what are you doing about these officers that you arrested? That brings me to back to you, Steve. When you were investigating those two, did you investigate those two drug dealing, horse pill drug dealing officers from Deal and Ocean Township? Did you investigate them, Steve? Did you write down all the evidence? Or you were not involved in that? In prosecutor's office, why won't you answer my question? You are prosecuting that case, so why won't you let us know where that case is at? Probably because you're giving them an out and they're going to get a nice little sweet deal. So, Steve, I know who your oath is to. Your oath is to your fellow brown shirts. That's what your oath to. It's not to the Constitution, because the Constitution is there to protect us against people like you, Steve, in the prosecutor's office, government overreach. Yeah. And we all know what the governor's doing is unlawful, and that's why he's going to get sued this week. So I'm anxious to hear from you, Steve. I'm anxious to hear you post on your Facebook how you support the Republicans bringing up that lawsuit against the governor. I'm very anxious to see it, Steve, because I know you're very pro-freedom. All right, enough of this ranting about Steve Cavendish in the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. You know, they just... you can't believe anything they tell you. You always have to question it. And when you do question it, they come at you and they attack you and try to make you feel, try to intimidate you or make you feel guilty for what you said. But my challenge to the prosecutor's office and Steve Cavendish, give me some examples of what you did to preserve freedom. I'm not interested in what you did to preserve a government law. I want to know what you've done to preserve freedom, to protect our rights. John Van Dyke for New Jersey Exposed. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Till next time. I'll put the link in the description. You can go see the thing for yourself.